Okay, so hi, I'm Natalie, and my partner Olivia and I decided to do our project over Christine de Pizan's A Letter from the God of Love. Pizan was a 14th century French royal court poet, and she began writing to support her family, mainly her mother and her children, and herself, after the death of her father and husband, who were originally the breadwinners. Her original writings were about love, and they were love ballads. But at one point, while she was writing and during her career, she turned to writing on political topics and events. Due to her work, she became the first woman to become a professional writer in Europe. Christine was a supporter of feminism in her time and was known to criticize published works written by men that depicted women as nothing more than seducers. Some of her works are known for her depictions of strong and intellectual female leaders that encouraged women at the time to be strong and intellectual as well. Christine was also well known for her commentary on military strategy and advice she would give to young lords, ladies, and even kings on what their duties were as leaders of countries and people. The work that I chose to compare Pizan's work to was Robert Herricks' Carpe Diem poem to the Virgins, to make much of time. So Herrick's entire poem is about telling women their prime time to have sex and to marry is when they're young. He tells them to lose their virginity while they can because time is ticking. He also tells us that as soon as women are out of their prime, they are no longer desirable for marriage. Essentially, this poem is telling young women that their only purpose in life is to please men and do it as young as possible. Pizan's Letter to the God of Love rails against works such as Herrick's and authors like Herrick who slander all women and objectify them. Pizan encourages women that while men dirty their names, to remain as they have, without blame for the actions of men, and doling out kindness and virtue even to those who would make a villain of them. Pizan concludes by chastising men who defame women and returns by saying that men who defame women are the true villains here. So a couple questions that we came up with for this work and the comparison work was, is the Letter to the God of Love still applicable to today? And it really is applicable today because there are many instances in which women's voices are silenced, such as rape culture, where women speak out on experiences that they've had, and people decide that their experiences aren't valid, or they were asking for it because of what they were wearing or what they were doing, and how it was them that is the true the true villain. Other instances in which women's voices are silenced or are not even present are in politics, when policies are being made about women and women aren't present to choose what to do with their own bodies. That's most prevalent in choices having to do with abortion, the availability of period products, the living wage in America, and how there's such a difference between women's wages and men's wages. And just in general, slandering women publicly is also very present. If someone were to choose to look at a woman in power and slander them, they can do so. It's very present, and there's nothing we can do about it because they have chosen to do so. Another question that we posed was, how might Pizan have been received as a writer in politics and women's rights during the medieval Europe? And it was mostly that she was protected by patrons, that she wasn't slandered as much so. So she had court patrons that were reading her works, that were asking her to write her works, and they were protecting her from backlash. So it wasn't the general public that was receiving her works to be empowered by it. But there were a lot of instances in which Pizan was co-writing or writing her works for women in the court. So it was to them that she was empowering, and it was also that like women who saw what she was doing wanted to help to empower women who really didn't have a voice. So yeah, that's Christine de Pizan's Letter from the God of Love. Yeah.